Obviously, the issue is about Superman kissing Wonder Woman, and so I really thought about how do you boil that down to its essence? And so I thought about other sort of iconic historic kisses, and so I did a little Googling. Obviously, there's the picture from, I think it's VE or VJ Day, which is from Times Square right at the end of World War II, where this sailor is kissing an anonymous woman. And, uh, and then there's the Gustav Klimt piece, which is called The Kiss. And you can see it's actually very abstract. It's not obviously very different from the photograph, and it wasn't really my attempt to recreate these poses, but I wanted to look at these images to see what made them so iconic and what they shared that I could kind of bring to my piece. And because this was the kiss between Superman and Wonder Woman, sort of the big reveal, this cover lent itself to that kind of composition. People always ask me how long it takes to draw anything. I generally say anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. This, because they were videotaping it, it actually runs a timer and an ongoing clock. So I think this came in at 5.5 hours. It's interesting, the simpler the cover, the more careful you have to be with every line, because every line matters. When you have a lot of things in the background that can kind of distract and hide mistakes or strange compositions in the foreground, so everything kind of was super important, and most of the time was actually spent on breaking down the actual composition, the body gesture, the language, and maybe a fourth of the time was actually spent physically drawing the lines. At that point, hopefully you've done all your groundwork, and in a way, it's almost like you can kind of turn that part of your mind off, and you can just focus on the quality of the line, how much energy it has, how thick the shadows are, things like that. Doing this cover has been a blast just because it's just two characters. I think one of the hard things about doing a team book is that if you have to put all 7 characters in, they take up a lot of real estate. It's a whole different kind of process composing that in a very aesthetic way. Being able to just focus on 2 characters and having this kind of historic moment in the New 52 made it a lot of fun. I think this issue, this image, pays off a lot of what the New 52 promised back in September. We changed a lot of things, and I think changing it for just for the sake of change made no sense. And in fact, I think when we start thinking about the possibilities of what Superman, what kind of relationships he could be in if we changed the status of his marriage, restored the classic love triangle between him, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane, and he's single again, does that open him up to other relationships? Could he find a mate in Wonder Woman who might be an ideal candidate because she's super powerful and regal and has all these different attributes that other characters don't have? And I think when you start going down that line, thinking about those kinds of stories, you start seeing that, the New 52 wasn't about removing things. It was about changing things to give you the possibility of adding cool new things. And to me, this kiss, this relationship is a payoff of that kind of promise. I think it's one of those natural pairings of characters that was never explored fully before. So I think, like I said, I think it really speaks to the promise of what the New 52 can accomplish. And I think it'll inspire other creators to take those kinds of chances and those kind of logical steps with their characters, their storylines. I think it really shows the readership that anything is possible, and we have a lot of cool stuff. New 52 is not just about redacting past storylines. It's not just about new costumes. It's about cool new stuff that you couldn't do before because of the status quo. I do not know, and if I did, I couldn't speak to it. It has sworn to secrecy. I know a little bit about. It's not just about um, exploring their romantic love lines. There's reasons why. I shouldn't even get into it. There's other reasons behind it, and other things that happen because of it. So, you know, it's I wouldn't say it's Romeo and Juliet, but I think when you have powerful characters like this and they are allied or a power couple, it changes the dynamics of the superhero universe, the DC universe. And so I think people have to react to this If there's any fear by mankind about what superhumans can do to the Earth if they're not in check, I think their concerns would be doubled because they would be concerned about, well, what is a love-struck or a lovesick Superman? How does that play into this? How do we control that? So there's all these cool storylines that come of it. And they don't just focus on their relationship, but all the repercussions that come out of this relationship. When you think about power couples, celebrities, I mean, superheroes would, if they existed, would be on the very top of those charts. So I think it would be a seismic thing. Is that a baby bump we see? Those kind of, or did she just eat some bad tacos? That kind of stuff. So yeah, it would be huge. Yeah, you know what? I think this would be the ultimate get if you're a paparazzi, and doubly difficult or infinitely more hard because Superman can see through walls and hear the click of a shutter, from miles away. So I think it would be very tough to get that shot. Certainly, there's a ton of memorable, iconic kisses, and I think from here to eternity, there's that kiss, Burt Lancaster, on the beach. And actually, at one point while I was doing this cover, I thought of that image and thought about, well, what if it was reversed and Superman was flying on his back, and the shot were more like this, which is the shot from that movie. And I kind of played around with it and had the cape go this way, but I felt like too much would be kind of covered, and so I rejected that. So I mean, there was a lot of these kinds of poses that I was kind of going through as I did this. I think the kiss, though, I remember from my childhood that every geek nerd remembers is that climactic moment when Luke Skywalker kisses Princess Leia, who ends up being his sister. And it's one thing to see it and go yuck because you're a 12-year-old boy, and then the next movies go like, oh my God, he kissed his sister, double yuck. And so that one I remember for quite a while.